Okay. We'll talk about today about some problem solving techniques and how good a problem solver you are. And then we'll take a look at some of the MCQs and see your grade.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And it has been so long since you have made any presentations.
Yes, ma'am.
No presentations coming from your side, and you need to make presentations and get some mark from me. All right. As far as possible, keep your cameras on and microphone muted. If you want to ask anything, you can raise your hand. Otherwise, this class always has been interactive. I cannot mute all because you need to interact with me. The least you can do is keep your cameras on. All right. What do you understand by problem solving? मैं उनसे बात कर रही हूँ जिनका कैमरा ऑन है. अब हम बात ही नहीं, I'm not going to talk to people with closed doors. Huh? Gaurav, तुम बताओ. What do you mean by problem solving techniques? Do you consider yourself a problem solver? जल्दी बताइए.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what
Ma'am,
is
problem solve is act of defining a problem, determining the cause of the problem, identifying and selecting alternative for a solution.
Do you think a manager should be skilled with skilled to solve problems?
Yes, ma'am. Of course, ma'am.
Is it possible for a person to solve all kinds of problems?
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yes.
No, ma'am. No,
Yes.
ma'am. No. Ma'am.
Okay. One person cannot be a Mr. Know-all. Yes, all the problems I
Yes,
have,
ma'am.
all the problems I can see, I can foresee, I can solve.
Yes, ma'am. No one is
So,
perfect.
what are the problems which you can solve? Oh, my question was wrong. What were the questions have you been solving all your life? ऐसा क्या है जो तुम ही सॉल्व करते आ रहे हो? The question goes for everybody, those who are with their closed doors. Abhinav Pandey, आप बताओ.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Problem solving, ma'am.
And today also happens to be Saturday. So what about your Saturday activity club? Down the drain? Nothing happening. And why nothing happening? Anyways, yes, Anku Kumari, tell me. What are the problems have you been solving all your life? Your personal problem, others' problem, friends' problems, what?
My problem.
Okay, you've been solving your problems. Like?
Yes, ma'am.
जैसे कि, for example?
My study.
तो तुम्हें करना है. वो problem का है.
It's my
God, ये लड़की बोली studying is a problem. Studying is a problem. How can not studying is a problem? Not being able to study is a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Abhinav Pandey.
Yes, ma'am.
Your response, yeah. Exam problem. What exam problem? That is not a problem. That is a solution. That is a solution to your problems. Exams.
Ma'am.
हाँ, बताओ. Where are the veterans of the class? Why are they microphone off, camera off? Huh? The veterans, BBA AKU second sem. Are you there or not? They are there, but they are just keeping mum. Anyways, today we're going to take a look at the problem solving techniques, the 6 techniques, and how well you identify with these techniques. It's up to you. Make notes so that you can make the presentation in the next class.
Yes.
So problem solving techniques everybody needs to have. If you don't have, you will learn. And when you will learn, you will practice, you will prepare, and you will be a better version of yourself. So the only way you can be a better version of yourself is one person who can solve, who has got this problem solving techniques. Let's get started. The 6 creative ways to solve problems. There are 6 creative ways to solve problems. So let us start with how will you begin with this? How will you begin this presentation? Like, great problem solvers are made, not born. Nobody is born great. Nobody is born with extraordinary skills. Nobody is a born champion. No one is a born champion. They are all made. They are all made. So great problem solvers, likewise, they are made, not born. That's why we found that decades of problem solving with leaders across business, non-profit, and policy sectors, these leaders learn to adopt a particular open and curious mindset. The first thing you have to keep into account is that you have got to be an opened mindset. Open and curious. What do you mean by curious mindset? Students, please respond.
Curious.
Positive mindset.
Curious mindset है मतलब क्या होता है?
Effective.
Positive mindset means
हाँ बताइए, क्यूरियस माइंडसेट क्या होता है? ओपन माइंडसेट तो ठीक है, क्यूरियस क्या है?
The person who is willing to know something new.
यस मैम, नया नया चीज जानने
क्यूरियस मतलब
नई चीज जानने की इच्छा.
नई
उत्साहित।
चीजों को जानने की इच्छा.
Yes, ma'am. Seeking new information.
फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हाउ व्हाई अ चाइल्ड इज सो मच क्यूरियस?
Yes, ma'am. जिज्ञासा.
एक छोटा सा बच्चा को कितने क्वेश्चंस होते हैं? दे आर फुल ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. व्हाई दिस, व्हाई दैट, ऐसा क्यों नहीं है, वैसा क्यों नहीं है? And you know, people are, adults are fed up of answering their questions. लेकिन उन लोगों के पास इतने questions होते हैं, they are so much full of questions, and the more questions they ask, the knowledgeable that they become. So you have to be a person with an open mind. It means open mind means trying to listen to people, being a good listener, trying to accept people as they are, not putting your views and thoughts across, mutual respect. So, yeah. So, they are all people who are curious. They adopt a particularly open and curious mindset and adhere to a systematic process of cracking even the most unscrutable problems. And whatever they do, they stick, they are disciplined to any kind of systematic process. The solving problem, you have to be, number one thing, you have to be open-minded. You have to be curious about things, staying foolish, staying hungry. In a systematic, they work and they stick with discipline to a systematic process of cracking even the most difficult of problems.
Ma'am, screen is not.
Screen is not visible.
No.
no, ma'am.
Okay. Now? Now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So चाहे कितना भी जटिल प्रॉब्लम क्यों ना हो, the most inscrutable problem, most difficult problems, they are terrific problem solvers. They become terrific, they become good problem solvers with their mindset, with their approach, with their positive approach, under any condition, come what may. And when conditions of uncertainty are at their peak, they are at their brilliant best. और जहां सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम होता है, तब वो लोग दे बिकम, जितना ही प्रॉब्लम डिफिकल्ट हो, उतना ही वो लोग दे आर एट द ब्रिलियंट बेस्ट.
Yes, ma'am.
जितनी अधिक जितनी गहन समस्या होती है, उतनी अधिक उनको सॉल्व करने में मजा आता है. और वो दे आर एट देयर बेस्ट, नॉट ओनली बेस्ट, बट दे आर एट द ब्रिलियंट बेस्ट. 6 mutual reinforcing approaches underlie their success. वो क्या चीजें हैं? What are the 6 techniques which they depend on, which they are most confident about? So number 1 is being ever curious about every element of a problem. Now, in a problem, there can be various elements. एक प्रॉब्लम के 10 एलिमेंट्स भी हो सकते हैं. तो ये 10 एलिमेंट के, every problem, every element के, they are very curious to know about each and every element. The why, the how, the when, the where. So unless and until you know the details, you will not be able to solve. So they are curious about a lot of things. Curious about a problem at hand. Number 2, please take down some notes so that when I ask you at the end of the session, you will be able to make your presentation. Being imperfectionist का मतलब क्या होता है? With a high tolerance of ambiguity. It means they never say that I know everything. The moment you feel that I know everything, you will stop learning. So they always feel there's always something more to learn. There's always something more to do. There is more than what meets the eye. So ye being imperfect, somebody who feels that I'm not perfect, I need to learn more. I need to see more. I need to do more. अगर जैसे ही दिमाग में आ जाएगी नहीं, I am perfect, and there's no need for improvement. That's it, full and final. बस हो गया. तब आप कभी problem solver नहीं बनेंगे. You have to be like an imperfectionist, because there should be a need for curiosity and to learn more, and your tolerance level should be skyrocketing.
Yes, ma'am.
With a high tolerance for ambiguity. What do you mean by ambiguity? Hello? Please respond. What is ambiguous? What is ambiguity?
नहीं पता.
Anybody else? The possibility of being understood. कि लोग आपको समझ रहे हैं.
The
In more than one way. अगर ऐसे समझ में नहीं आया तो take some other example. दूसरा नहीं तो तीसरा example. You should keep your options open.
Ambiguity means
which can be understood in many ways. It means you need to have a lot of patience, tolerance. Know it this way, know it that way. सभी एरिया सभी एंगल से किसी प्रॉब्लम को देखना. Number 3, having a dragonfly eye. क्या मतलब इसका होता है? To have a dragonfly eye.
इंसेक्ट होता है लगता है.
हाँ, तो ये एक्सप्रेशन समझिए. What does it mean?
उसके
To have a dragonfly eye means to view the world, to see through multiple lenses. ठीक है, multiple lenses से किसी चीज को देखना. How a doctor, when somebody is sick, you go to the doctor. The doctor will not just look at you and prescribe some medicines. What will he do? He is going to rule out everything. Get a blood test, get an X-ray done, get this done, get that done. वो हर लेंस से तुमको देखेगा. Then he'll give you the medicine. Then he'll solve your problem. So looking at the view of the world, like view of the world of the problem through multiple lenses. Number 4, pursuing occurrent behavior and experimenting relentlessly. बार बार एक्सपेरिमेंट करना, लगे रहना जब तक ये सॉल्व नहीं कर ले. Without failing, without rest, relentlessly मतलब होता है continuously be at a problem जब तक कि वो सॉल्व नहीं हो जाता है. Don't leave. Like there's a saying, no, I hate to do works by halves. No. Pursuing occurrent behavior and experimenting relentlessly.
रिलेंटलेसली हम काइंडली हो सकते हैं. काइंड
नहीं, continuously.
कंटिन्यूअस.
What is occurrent? Something which is happening.
हैपनिंग.
Occurrent behavior. The present behavior. Now, occurrent behavior is what actually happens in a time and place. What is actually happening at the time and place, and not what was potential or predicted behavior. Predicted behavior था, he was very good. अभी behavior कुछ और है. So, complex problems don't give up their secrets easily, but it is a complex problem, and so the present behavior is being observed. You're pursuing it. कि पहले तो he was okay. The problem was not as such, but now the problem is existing like this, and this you're going to solve by experimenting relentlessly. Somebody give me the Hindi meaning of relentlessly to make you understand better. Relentless का मतलब बताइए.
दया मैम.
दया कहाँ से आ जाता है तुम यार?
दया वाचक टाइप.
Continuously.
कंटिन्यूअसली मैंने बताया ना. दया तुम कहाँ से ले रहे हो? रिलेंटलेसली में कंटिन्यूअसली किसी काम में किसी लगातार मतलब कल लगे रहो जब तक कि तुम प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व नहीं हो जाता है. थ्रू एक्सपेरिमेंट्स.
थ्रू द एक्सपेरिमेंट.
Number 5, tapping into the collective intelligence, acknowledging that the smartest people are not in the room. मतलब tapping into the collective intelligence. Collective intelligence means acknowledging, knowing that the smartest people are not in the room.
टैपिंग का मतलब है.
Tapping, it means connecting. तो जितने भी इंटेलिजेंस आपके पास है, गैदर द इंटेलिजेंस. जितना भी आप सोच सकते हैं, पढ़ सकते हैं, देख सकते हैं, ये जानते हुए भी कि एक्नॉलेजिंग दैट द स्मार्टेस्ट पीपल आर नॉट इन द रूम. और जो स्मार्टेस्ट पीपल है इस रूम में नहीं है, जो है सब बस हम ही है, तो हम ही को करना है. And then practicing show and tell. Because storytelling begets action. It means show and tell का मतलब क्या होता है? Telling your story.
दिखाना,
दिखाना कि किस
बताना।
तरह से है, बताना, दिखाना, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करना, एग्जिबिट करना, how it happened, how you solved it. Now, out of the 6 जो पढ़ा आपने, how many of you are ever cautious? Ever cautious का मतलब होता है हमेशा हमेशा क्यूरियस होना,
Desireful.
कुछ सीखने हैं इसमें, सीखने नया चीज।
desire नहीं, not desire. Be ever cautious. Now these are the instructions, these are the techniques. If you want to become a problem solver, you need to be क्या?
लर्नर,
You need to be ever curious का मतलब होता है कि always be curious.
एज एनी पेरेंट्स नो,
No, or about any problem. As any parent is for the children. So किसी भी problem को देखोगे तो be curious. Be curious to know all the WH and how, what, where, why, when, who. As any parent knows. Somebody please read this. Or you want me to read it? Fine. So be ever curious. हर वक्त curious रहो. Be always on the lookout for some knowledge. As any parent knows, 4-year-olds are unceasingly askers. They are asking a lot of questions. Think of the never-ending whys that make little children so delightful and relentless. इन्हीं के एक बार why हुआ, and then they'll ask another why. For every
अनसीजिंग मतलब क्या हो गया?
क्या?
अनसीजिंग आस्कर्स,
हाँ कोई वर्ड नहीं आप बताइएगा. अनसीजिंग मतलब बिना स्टॉप नॉन स्टॉप आस्कर्स. 4-year-olds, 4 साल के जो बच्चे जितने होते हैं, भाई 4 साल, 2 साल, 3 साल, the moment the child starts talking, they will start asking questions. Unceasing, बिना रुके हुए पूछते हैं, they are askers.
मीनिंगलेस,
Not meaningless. Unceasing का मतलब होता है non stop.
अच्छा,
हम continuously हो सकता है.
Yes, continuously. ये अभिनव पांडे कहाँ से मीनिंग बता रहे हैं? He's trying to confuse the whole class. Unceasing मतलब कि they are non-stop askers. Okay. Think of the, please, if you update your vocabulary, if you do not do any meaning, please write it down. Think
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
never-ending whys. Think of the never-ending whys and that make little children so delightful. And when they ask, they become so happy. Knowledge is power. Whenever you know something, you become delightful. कोई चीज तुम नहीं जानते हो, आज जान जाते हो. जैसे unceasing का मतलब होता है non-stop. You feel something happening inside you. You know a new word. And they are relentlessly asking. They're continuously asking. For every young, everything is new and wildly uncertain. For them, it's a new world, and they want to know the whole world. But they're on a mission of discovery, and they're determined to figure out. They want to know everything, and they're determined to figure things out, and they are good at, and they are really good at it. कोई उनको एनिमेशन नहीं होता है. They will ask you 100 questions. They are not bothered whether whatever you are thinking about them, but yes, they feel it's their birthright to ask. That high energy inquisitiveness is why we have high shelf and child-proof bottles. और इसी की वजह से we have to go for high shelves, मतलब ऊंचे तख्ते पर child-proof bottles रखते हैं ताकि वहां बच्चा पहुंच नहीं सके. Because so many children, they are very curious about medicines also. They will not know the ifs and whys, but the first thing is that they will put things in their mouth. What do you mean by inquisitiveness? They are very inquisitive. It means they are full of questions. When you face radical uncertainty, remember your 4-year-old or channel the 4-year-old within you. So whenever you see any problem, get back into that 4-year-old form. Why is this so? Why that? Unfortunately, somewhere between preschool and boardroom, we tend to stop asking. Or when we, as we grow older, like in the class, हम लोग पूछते रहते हैं, do you have any questions? Any questions? Any questions? No, ma'am. Nobody has any questions. एक आध बच्चा निकल के आता, हाँ, yes, ma'am, ये पूछना था. Then the teachers are really very happy. There is one inquisitive person who is going to who has some questions. I remember in every class, in most of my classes, like in the first induction classes, which I always take, the first question हमेशा रहता है कि students please ask questions. Do you have any question for me? So, our brains make sense of massive numbers of data points by imposing patterns that have worked for us. मतलब ऐसा बहुत data मेरे पास है जो इस technique से ये solve हो चुका है. It is all stored up inside us. Like we all know what are the protocols of COVID-19. हम लोग को सबको पता हो गया है. By through experimenting, क्या करने से क्या होता है? We all know the use of काढ़ा and all that. पहले नहीं पता होगा. How to make it? No. The problem was there and we got into the problem and we solved it. और अभी कुछ problem होता है, then we get back to yes, this always works. And through your experience, you know what things worked for you and what are the things which did not work. That's why a simple technique worth employing at the beginning of the problem solving is simply to pause and ask why conditions or assumptions are so until you arrive at the root of the problem. सबसे पहले क्या है? Why this happened, and then you come to the. Let's move on to number 2. And we have found that better results come from embracing uncertainty. Do not be certain on any point. You know, this is it. हाँ, ऐसे ही हो जाएगा. चलो, jumping to conclusions. ऐसा नहीं हुआ तो कुछ और करते हैं. वो नहीं हुआ तो कुछ और करते हैं. So this curiosity is the engine of creativity. When you are curious, you become creative. Number 2. किसके घर से गाने की आवाज आ रही? प्लीज अभिनव पांडे, keep yourself muted.
Sorry, ma'am.
Number 2, tolerate ambiguity and stay humble.
Tolerate का मतलब तो मैम इग्नोर होना हो गया ना, इग्नोर
हाँ,
करना.
और ambiguity का मतलब क्या होता है?
Lot of passive.
Lots of
Passive.
Pattern.
lots of ideas.
What is the Hindi meaning?
धैर्य रखना मैम.
नहीं, ambiguity का मतलब हो जाता है कि कोई अनिश्चितता होता है.
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty, yeah. Ambiguity. Tolerate it. And stay humble. Do not be certain about anything. नहीं, अब ये बस ये हो गया, यही काम करेगा. ठीक है. Always think of options. If not this, then this. What do you mean by the term stay humble?
Stay humble, polite person.
नहीं, humble तो ठीक है, polite है, लेकिन यहाँ पर क्या मतलब हुआ stay humble का?
नम्रता मैम.
मैम विनम्र
Vinyamra, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
विनम्र हो.
So So when we think of problem solvers, many of us tend to picture a poised and brilliant engineer. देखो तो ये इतना सा लड़का ये क्या प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करेगा? प्रॉब्लम सॉल्वर तो बताए उसकी पिक्चर ही लार्ज पिक्चर होती है उसकी मन में, अ पॉइज्ड ब्रिलियंट इंजीनियर, तो दिमाग में पिक्चर आता है प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग के दिमाग में आता है. अ पॉइज्ड मतलब वेल बिहेव्ड, वेल कल्चर्ड, वेल ड्रेस्ड. When we think of problem solvers, many of us tend to picture, बहुत लोग सोचते हैं कि नहीं problem solver को तो ऐसा होना चाहिए. We may imagine a mastermind who knows that she is doing the approaches and approaches the problem with purpose. The reality though,
माइंड का मतलब मैम आज तक हम नहीं समझे.
क्या चीज?
मास्टरमाइंड.
अच्छा,
मैम सुनने में आता है बहुत बार ये.
कोई बताएगा इसको मास्टरमाइंड का मतलब क्या होता है?
क्या मैम?
मास्टरमाइंड का मतलब बता दो इसको. What is the meaning of mastermind?
हर चीज में मास्टर होना, किसी चीज को
हर चीज का मास्टरमाइंड होता है, ठीक है. मास्टरमाइंड ऑफ एनी इवेंट. somebody, हाँ,
परफेक्ट.
जो
like my master key that open all the
हाँ मास्टरमाइंड मतलब कि
All the problem.
कोई विख्यात
Ma'am, person who have a genius mind.
a person who has a genius mind.
Ma'am, a person who is
He is the mastermind of the project.
Yes, ma'am.
मतलब हाँ,
मैम जीनियस इन विच सेंस?
solving all the problem.
a genius, a mastermind is a genius.
आला दिमाग बोल सकते हैं, आला दिमाग जिसके पास नाम दिमाग
हाँ.
की दिमाग.
Who knows that what she is doing and approaches the problem with a purpose. It's more than a parent randomly of rugby, and this is not important for you. So just the word is tolerate. Tolerance is the key word. The third is the dragonfly eye view. मतलब एक प्रॉब्लम को कई निगाह से देखना, कई प्रोस्पेक्ट से देखना, कई एंगल से देखना.
यस
So dragonfly perception is common to great problem solvers. Dragonflies have large compound eyes. जो dragonflies जो होते हैं ना, उनके eyes बहुत large होते हैं, with thousands of lenses and photoreceptors, sensitive to different wavelength of light. Although we don't know exactly how their insects brain process all this visual information. हम लोग को पता नहीं कैसे देखते हैं, लेकिन a dragonfly eye view is a expression in English which means looking at a problem through different lenses, through different angles. Yeah. The fourth is pursue occurrent behavior. It means लगे रहना continuously at a problem until you are able to solve it continuously, permanently. So this kind of behavior actually happens in a time and place, not what the potential or predicted behavior. It means the behavior can be different at the time of the problem. So complex problems don't give up their secrets easily. It means complex जो problems होता है बहुत जल्दी से solve नहीं होता है. It takes time. Any kind of disease it cannot be cured overnight. But it takes time. But that shouldn't deter problem solvers from exploring. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि उसको छोड़ दिया जाए. It takes time, but it has to be solved somehow. And you have to come with a solution. So let us come to the next. Yeah, number 5. Tap into collective intelligence and the wisdom of the crowd. So Chris Bradley, a co-author of Strategy Beyond the Hockey Stick, observed that it's a mistake to think that on your team you have the smartest people in the room. ये कभी नहीं सोचना चाहिए कि मेरे पास जो है they are the smartest of them all, और इससे smart कोई हो ही नहीं सकता. They aren't there. They are invariably somewhere else. Nor do they need to be there if you can access their intelligence via other means. It means in an ever-changing world, to work with you. Sorry. Where conditions can evolve unpredictably. Okay, maybe you have the best of teams, but they are not there with you. A lot of people whom you know who can solve a lot of problems, who have the answers of a lot of things, but at that particular moment they might not be there with you. So what do you have to do? You have to be working on your intelligence. You have to be working on your experience, right? The broader the circles of the information which you have, you can access from anywhere, the more likely it is that your solutions will be novel and creative. Now, यहाँ पर क्या बता रहा है कि they can maybe you have the smartest of people in your team, but they might not be there with you. उस वक्त आपके पास नहीं होंगे, उसको आप क्या करेंगे उसके पास? The broader circle of information, जितना circle आपका broad होगा, उतना आपका information ज़्यादा होगा, the more likely it is that your solutions will be novel and creative. बात यहाँ पर क्या हो रही है? बात यहाँ पर रिसर्च की हो रही है. The more research you do, it will be novel, something new, something creative. Strive to solve different problems in different ways, in new ways, in creative ways. Something which is unique, something which you will say, yes, only you can do it. Number 6, show and tell to drive action. So, yes, we started with our list of mindset, and then we move on to whatever you have done, whatever problems you have solved, tell the people, tell your story. So we started our list of mindsets with a reference to children, and we return to children now and show and tell. As you no doubt remember, back when you were more curious, show and tell is an elementary school activity.
Elementary.
दिखाओ और बोलो, मतलब it is a school activity, show and tell. Like show what is an elephant, pick up the placard and say this is an elephant, and show and tell. It means it's not usually associated with problem solving, but it probably piqued for interest. In fact, this approach is critical to problem solving. Show and tell is how you connect with your audience with the problem and then use combinations of logic and persuasion to get action. What do you mean to get action? To see how people react. So, back to you. So what did you understand?
Yes.
What is your takeaway from problem solving techniques? Today we did not have get the time for your MCQs, but then what is your takeaway? What is the meaning of relentless?
Continuously.
Continuous. What is your takeaway from today's lesson? Yes. जो 6 स्किल जो बताया गया उसमें से can you identify with any one of them?
How to study the problem.
Hello?
Yes, and show and
Now
tell.
focus on the solution.
Focusing on the solution and looking at a problem from different lenses, from different angles.
How can we solve the problem?
Okay. Okay, then I'm giving this assignment to you. So how good a problem solver you are.